#1 live show in the world, West Coast Poplock Podcast. Coming to you from Pig Studios in Compton, California. Featuring radio personality Super Steve Flores, comedian extraordinaire, that dude Johnny C, and Mr. I'll Do Anything for a Buck, Mario 81. So throw your dubs in the air and let's get ready to pop lock!
Yo, what's up? It's the world
Let's
famous
go!
West Coast Poplock Podcast.
That's
the
us.
#1 live podcast every Tuesday night at 8. Live on Twitch, live on Facebook, live on YouTube. But you can also catch us every...
on Wednesdays at 8
Pop
a.m.
quiz,
and 4
Johnny.
p.m. I know, 8 a.m., 4 p.m. Local music experience.
Man, you can also get us on Spotify and iTunes
What?
as well. Powered by My Grito. And of course, here in the world famous Pig Studios. In a secret location in Compton, California, with brand new mics.
Wow, look at these. It's
Ooh,
like,
look at these.
Damn, man.
Everyone sounds so crispy.
it's a whole
Clear.
new. It's a whole new world.
It is
It
a
is.
whole new world.
Like the Little Mermaid.
What did you get right here, Mario? Really quick, let us know what you got.
I mean,
you
look,
know, it's
they're not the
beautiful.
ones
They're
I
beautiful.
really wanted, because I thought after getting signed with my grito, I thought the money was going to start coming in. I thought we were balling. I thought we were going to have fucking some SMs, fucking 7Bs up in this month. But it was time to upgrade a little bit. I thought, I'm already ahead of the game over everyone else's podcast and production-wise, but I thought, you know what? Let me put a little kiss on it, just a little bit, just a little bit. So I went ahead and got some newer mics, definitely designed for some podcasting. The new Shure SMV7s, great podcasting mics. They're both dual for like computer and for like XLR, so that's the way we're running them. So, ooh,
Don't kiss too hard, you might get that monkeypox, bro.
And then he got me a thing. He got a thing right here.
Oh, shocker.
To
Little.
keep me in check.
Yeah.
just trying to minimize the noise. That's
Well,
all.
on
But I'm the only one who makes noise.
on this summer hostess, right? Hostess? Is it? No, not solstice.
Oh, the solstice is today.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we have it's the longest day of the year. So we
Yeah.
have a special guest today, Leo. He's been here before from the Boo Crew.
No, we had him on Skype before.
We had him Skype.
Yeah.
So now he's in studio.
Yeah.
Episode 86 of the world famous.
And there's no way it's 86.
West
It's at least 87.
This is 87.
All right.
It's 86.
There's no way it's 86.
It's 87.
There you go.
86.
It's 87 at least.
It's not.
I think it might be 88.
All right, we'll check that, but welcome, Leo from the Boo Crew.
Greetings, Earthlings. Hey, thanks for having me back, man.
Absolutely.
You know what? I've done so much drugs. That's why it didn't make sense. Like, when we were talking, like, he was talking like if he wasn't here, but, like, I know we had you on the show, but, like, no, it don't
Why
make
am I
sense.
the only one who remembers anything?
Because you do, Johnny, have a good brain.
Oh, man, look at me.
Science, tell me what's wrong with my brain. Tell me.
Well, how much
What?
MDMA did you do?
What? Yeah, a lot.
A lot.
A lot.
You're supposed to be sad, not doing. I didn't know sad guys did ecstasy.
So what's new with the Boo Crew, Leo?
Oh, man.
And yourself, of course.
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. We're all doing great. We just launched our brand new TV episode. So we're launching like a whole new season of television.
Hell yeah.
You can find us on like Roku.
I have that.
Yeah, all these apps on the TV, like, we have Roku, you have Pluto TV, you have Rad, and of course, Bloody Disgusting TV. So they have their own streaming channel and they have their own streaming service called Screambox. So
Oh, yeah.
that's blowing up. So if you like horror movies, it's a great new service to subscribe to. We'll be on there, of course. We're doing well, man. We just got through Monsterpalooza. You guys ever been to a horror convention?
No.
I have not, but my friends, they have a lot of booths. There are a lot of people that go out to like Monsterpalooza and a bunch of all these. Is it Monsterpalooza that is like the biggest one here? I know there's another one that they also do.
That would be Midsummer Scream.
Okay, yeah, that one.
Midsummer Scream, I think, is bigger in size because it's at the Long Beach Convention Center. But Monsterpalooza is the Pasadena Convention Center, so a little bit smaller, But the cool thing is, if you're into like special effects, monster creature design, like the people that actually makes the stuff, for the movies.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you're a kid in a candy store. It's just not just to see that stuff, but the vendors, man. There's amazing vendors that do art, of all sorts. Even tattoo artists, T-shirts. It's just so much cool stuff, so much eye candy, and you could walk out of there broke easily, you know.
Yeah, when I dated, you remember Melissa?
Yeah.
She used to do that. She used to do like the guts and the heart, and she taught me how to make like guts and stuff. That shit was pretty cool, man.
It's crazy, man.
Hell yeah.
Especially, I mean, now it's a whole new level because, now everything's filmed in 4K, 8K, high def, so it's got to look even better,
Yeah.
But watching these people work, and not just that, man, the horror community, a bunch of cool people, man. The coolest people you'll ever meet. I know Steve and I go back, to radio days, and radio, man, there's some pretty rotten people.
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying everyone, but
Sure.
I think Leo just called me rotten.
Yeah, that's exactly what I heard.
The only rotten one I know is over there in the East Coast.
rotten.
No, but you know what I mean. It's like the
Yeah.
entertainment business is it's hard, man. It's like
Absolutely.
1000%.
yeah. So it's one of those when you're now exposed to a whole different community, in this horror universe. It's like everybody's really cool, man.
You know what's crazy is that as you say that, I feel the same way about the wrestling community.
I was about to say the same.
It's almost the same thing where these tight niche things and the people who are in there are definitely passionate about what it is that they're into, and they love it and they give it a lot. So when you get into these communities of that sort, I think it's a little bit different.
Right.
And wrestling is almost kind of like the same way where you're amongst other weirdos and freaks or whatever else that float your freaky boat.
And I also think it has to
Lovers
do
of the
with
art form.
more lovers than even looking for a payday. You know what I'm saying? Because some of those things don't really have. There's really no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Right.
Sometimes you just got to do it. I mean, there's guys that have been in the indies forever.
Sure, you're doing it because you can't do anything else. You have to do this.
But I'll tell you, man, some of the best art that I've seen on the screen, I mean, whether it's streaming or the big screen in terms of horror movies, I mean, we're going through it right now. It's just it's a big renaissance right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, there was a time in the 90s and 2000s where it's like, they were dumping movies left and right and they sucked.
Sure.
It's like, oh, here's a loud noise to scare you, right? Here's a black cat. There's like,
Just turn and burn. Get them out there. Get them
dude,
out there.
but the quality coming out today, I'll tell you, whether it's streaming on Screenbox or, whatever service, or you go some indie film, whatever, some great stuff coming out there, man, from some great minds. People you've never heard of.
There's no rules anymore.
Nope.
There's no rules, and it especially movies, but all art.
Yeah.
Before the internet, before all this, it was ask for permission business.
Right.
Can I please do this? Will you please do that for
Yes.
me? Can I please? And now, if you're an auteur, if you're a writer, if you're a director, if you're someone with a vision,
Yeah.
fuck that, you could do it yourself, and you don't have to go through the censors that are gonna be. You don't have to go through notes.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through any of that stuff. You could make whatever your demented vision is.
Right. Dude, it's
For
true.
some sick
It's
horror
true.
movie,
Yeah, it's true. You don't need, like you said, you don't need permission. All you need is, a vision. You need, some ideas. You need a camera. You need some decent sound. That's it. And it's just your mind, it's what can you put together? What can you piece together? One of the best stories I heard, I mean, I met these guys, the guys that made a movie called Dementia Part 2. There is no Part 1. It's just Part 2.
I love it.
And it's shot in black and white. Okay, but here's the whole story of the movie. It was done on a bet. It was kind of like, hey, can you guys do this movie in 5 days? Like, write it, like come up with the idea, the location, the actors, everything. They had to do the whole thing.
Fuck.
They did that all in like 1 week. Like, it's record time.
That's
Like they were on, the Variety wrote an article about them because it was just like, and then of course it went into a movie festival, and the movie had just arrived seconds before like playing, because it was just like to the wire, and the movie's only just like an hour long, and it's a handyman that just got out of prison, and he goes to, takes his first job to go help out an old lady, and the old lady's not exactly who you think she is, she's maybe she's not alive,
Sure.
So it pays a lot of tribute to like Night of the Living Dead, and like Evil Dead a little bit. But the fact that they did that in just a few days, from the idea, not even like there was no script yet, nothing, Very impressive.
Yeah, I did that one time. We did this. We'll play it one of these days. It's called The Repo Man.
I love that movie, dude.
You
I always
remember
talk
that?
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, we did Repo Man in 1 day. Like, it was bullet points. We recorded everything in one day.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, that shit was fun. Shout out to my cousin.
I remember because
Gio.
you got to go get footage in Hollywood Boulevard, right?
Yeah, Hollywood Boulevard everywhere. It was dope, man. It was dope. It was really fucking fun.
Yeah,
But,
that's a fun movie, man.
heck yeah. But so can you name us or give us some of the movies that we should be looking out for? Like, you know what I mean? Some stuff that we could actually see, some stuff that you like.
Yeah, I think the last time I was here, I recommended a movie for you guys called Terrifier. Did you guys watch that yet?
No. You know what?
I think it wasn't a Tiger or something like that too. There was a different. There was a couple.
Yeah.
Which one was that one?
Tiger's Not Afraid.
Tiger's Not Afraid.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been meaning to watch that one.
There's
for sure.
notes in my phone that say that, and now I know
What it's
what
for.
that means. I was like, what does this mean? Terrifier. What does that mean? And now, like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, it's funny. When Guillermo del Toro won the Oscar for The Shape of Water, he was doing press, and people were looking at him like, "Oh, tell us about." And he's like, "No." He's like, "Don't care about my movie.
Sure.
There's this woman here. Her name is Isa Lopez. You should watch her movie." And the movie's called Tigers Are Not Afraid. Mexican director. She filmed it in the heart of Mexico City, and pretty ballsy because the movie has to do with some cartels.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So you gotta, but it's a horror fantasy, but very well made, and it's just one of those, visionary, right? Give me some new idea, give me something fresh, That's what she did, So now she's moved on to bigger things. But coming up, I recommend the Terrifier. That sequel is coming out. Like in a couple
2?
months, Terrifier 2. And I'll tell you, that clown, Art the Clown in Terrifier makes Pennywise look like Ronald McDonald.
Hell yeah.
Damn.
Like, that's a hardcore.
I remember when the first was it, right?
Yeah, Pennywise, yeah.
It when the first one, the original one came out, I was like, "Fuck, that shit was scary." You know what I'm saying?
Tim
And you're
Curry's
telling me
monster.
that's fucking Ronald McDonald.
Oh, it's Ronald McDonald, dude.
Damn.
The guy who made this movie, he comes from the special effects world, so he's making blood and guts, right? And he's like, "I'm gonna make my first movie," and he finds a 7-foot tall actor who plays Art the Clown. And I'll tell you, some of these effects in the movies, dude, you almost have to turn it off and come back to it like the next day because you're like,
"Alright.
I can't believe what I just watched.
That's enough for me for now.
And all I'm hearing is that part 2 is even worse.
That's the best.
So
It's so cool when tech guys turn around and start making movies.
Yes.
Like how the guy who made John Wick was the stunt man
Right.
forever. Was like, I have an idea for a movie.
Right.
And they make that happen. And now you're telling me the special effects man was
Yeah.
like, all this bullshit you guys are doing is not enough. Like I got some shit for
Yeah.
you. Like
Yeah.
let me make
ideas.
let me make
Yeah.
a movie. I got some shit for you.
Yeah.
Like that's fine.
And I'll tell you, there is a horror comedy coming out. It just got picked up at South by Southwest, made by a husband and wife, Joseph and Vanessa Winters in Utah. They made a movie called Deadstream. Talk about live streaming, okay? The movie's called Deadstream.
Yeah.
This guy goes live on camera. So the whole movie is him live on camera where he has to go into a haunted house and spend the night, right? Just exploring, And he does these really fun things because he's got an iPad that's attached to all the cameras so he can switch between cameras and he sticks cameras on the walls. And like, as he goes, he's improvising. That movie, dude, it's one of the funniest
What a
things I've
good
seen.
idea.
Oh, man.
What is that movie called?
Deadstream.
Deadstream.
Oh, yeah.
Write that down, Johnny. Remind me.
And I'll tell you,
I'm not gonna know what any of these mean later.
The first 30 seconds of that movie, he's basically making fun of himself. He's just telling you, hey, look what I did. The first 30 seconds, he put in more effort in those first 30 seconds, what you see, all those clips, than most people do for a whole movie. Like, it's just super creative, super funny, and actually scary. So be on the lookout for that. It's coming out later this year, I think October.
Hell yeah.
Is there any new characters coming out, like Elm Street kind of guys, like Freddy, anything like that? Anything new?
I mean, there's been talks that they're trying to get Robert Englund to do Freddy one more time. I don't know if that's going to happen. Friday the 13th is tied up in legal problems.
Is that what's going on?
Yeah, the writer and the director. And actually, you know what's funny? I don't know if you guys know this. That I think LeBron James owns the right to the hockey mask.
Wait, what?
No
Yeah.
shit.
He bought. There was a Laker game. I don't know if you guys remember. He came out on the court wearing the hockey mask, and that was the day that his production company did some kind of buy-in or buyout or something. He owns like the rights to the hockey mask.
Oh shit.
So there could be another Friday the 13th movie, but between the writer and the guy
Sure,
who
there's
directed,
a lot of problems. out
yeah,
there.
it's like it may not be Jason, or it can't be a hockey mask.
Sure.
So I don't know if that's going to be made, but
And then it doesn't count then, right? You know what I'm saying? If it's not Jason with the hockey mask, then it ain't. Then
Call it something else.
Yeah.
Just make it. But there's just money in that name. There's money in the name.
Of course. So somehow they're gonna settle.
Right.
It has to be made somehow. You know. I mean,
and he'll end up in Mars killing somebody. Like didn't he do? Didn't he do one
in
like
space?
that?
Yeah.
In space.
Yeah.
Like,
Jason,
oh,
yeah.
come on.
That was so bad. It was great, but it was so bad.
It went in circles. I mean, all the whole series just went in circles. Where it's just, they leaned into. This is come on, this is the 10th one. Like they leaned into that for a while.
Right. I will say in storytelling mode to give me Freddy versus Jason towards the end of that fucking run. Or
Dude,
I mean, I'm sure there was more movies after that, but that shit was great. I loved it. It was so fucking.
I fully supported that idea.
We just put that movie in theaters. Our company, our parent company, Bloody Disgusting. We put that in theaters.
Ooh.
And we did an anniversary special because the 20th anniversary of Bloody Disgusting. We had that in theaters. It's the first time I saw that in theaters with the crowd, and people were into it, man.
Yeah.
Like people love those characters. So
Yeah.
when they were fighting, it was just like fucking people were cheering, and I'm like, damn, this is what I miss, you know.
Yeah.
This is what I miss, you know. So
Those characters mean a lot, you know. Even though they look hokey now because we're older,
right.
Sure.
You know, but
The first Nightmare on Elm Street is still scary.
Oh,
as
it
fuck.
is scary.
Fuck.
It
Get
is scary.
out of here.
Yeah.
Freddy
Yeah.
Krueger was no fucking joke.
Yeah.
At the beginning, he walks, his arms are long as fuck. He scrapes the walls. Get out of here. Pulls Johnny Depp into the bed,
Yep.
man. Get out of here. And I remember being one of the things that you watch later that you're fucking like, this is dumb. But I remember being so scared of when I was little. Is the very end of Nightmare on Elm Street when Freddy pulls the mom through
the door. Yeah.
and it's like you watch it now and it's so obviously fake. But
Right.
I remember watching it and being fucking scared out of my mind after the striped Cadillac drives away.
Right.
Oh my God, that's still scary. Even the one with Jack Earl Haley. Jack, how do you say that?
Yeah.
Jack
The
Earl Haley?
remake, yeah.
That was fucking scary as fuck too. Like they went back to like, let's make this shit scary.
Yeah. It's a different approach. Of course, people wanted Freddy, funny Freddy, and they didn't get that, and they hated it, whatever. But hey, you got to give these people props for trying something different.
Yeah,
Right.
like it wasn't. This fool was a child molester,
Right.
a murderer.
Right.
He's not supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
Like, you're not supposed to
Exactly.
root for this motherfucker.
Exactly.
Are you kidding me? And they tried to like make it how it's supposed to be. And
Right.
people were like, "What the fuck?" Like, nah, This ain't Freddy no more.
Right.
Like our Freddy fucking is happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has to be doing them fucking balloon animals, you know.
Right.
So I reached out to Danica XIX, my friend, and asked her. I was like, "We're having Horror Dude in. Let me." And what she wanted to know was, how do you feel about the Exorcist trilogy that's going to come out? Right. That
Wow. Okay. I'm excited because it's actually a sequel to the original movie. So we're talking like actually next year's 50 years.
Yeah.
So we're talking a 50-year-old sequel now.
Another movie that's still fucking scary.
It's scary.
Yeah,
Like
that
it's
one is-
still
yeah.
it's still hard to
Get
watch.
outta here. Yeah.
And it's mostly because of the actors and how good those actors are in that movie. That movie still holds up to me. It's still one of the scariest movies I've seen. So the fact that there's a sequel, I'm excited that it's not a remake. I'm excited it's not so it's a continuation story, and it's going to be obviously set in present day. And I think Ellen Burstyn is cast in it. She's going to be in it. The mom.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be in it. So
Really?
there's no word if Linda Blair is in it
No
as the girl.
fucking way. No way.
There's no word yet. I mean, she might or may not. Who knows, right?
Sure.
But I know the mom is. Still no plot. Now, the interesting thing is...
I'm guessing the devil's going to be involved somehow.
Yes, correctly, man. But, yeah, it's interesting because the guy who just directed the recent Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, he's tied to direct these movies. So I don't know what the vision is. I don't know where they're going to go. I have mixed feelings about these Halloween movies. Like, the first one, hit and miss for me. The second one, a huge miss for me. And the third one, I mean, it's gotta be a better movie. Otherwise, if it's not,
What are they doing? Yeah.
Yeah. So
I haven't seen any of those in. That's a series that I checked.
It's
out.
worth but it's worth checking out because it's a sequel to the original movie.
That's what I hear.
And now people are like, well, now you have old man Michael Myers, right? I go, yeah, but he's not that old. And when you think of what O.J. Simpson did at his age, you're like, you mean to tell me that somebody can't butcher somebody? Yes, they can. If they're in a rage,
And he's dead. He doesn't age, right?
Well,
Is he dead?
no, he's not super. He's human. He's human.
Yeah, he's human.
He's
He's
in
just
his
in a cycle.
He's in his 60s, I think. or
Yeah.
something like that. But it's worth watching because they did some interesting things with that. So I'm looking forward to that, especially I mean, there's these crazy stories that come out weekly that demonic possession is up like thousands of percents.
Really?
Yeah. In the most religious countries, in Mexico, in Italy, like in the backyards of the most Catholic countries where there is, the Vatican and all that.
Does that make it scarier because it's something that is really happening in a sense? I mean, at least, they're reporting it as true.
Yeah, I mean, well, the question is that, I watch like a lot of these exorcist priests talk about these cases, and they're pretty recent videos, and then they always discuss that it's like people are dabbling in the occult more, like, for example, in Mexico, right? All the cartels, they don't pray to the Virgin Mary. Who do they pray?
Yeah.
Santa Muerte. Exactly. Death. Because to them, it's like that's what keeps them safe and alive from being shot and killed and captured and all that.
It's not working, man. Those dudes. Keep
Yeah.
Steve's gonna beat me after this.
Is this on right now?
Should be. Is this on?
We're playing the
The
intro
number one
again?
live show in the world, West Coast Poplock Podcast. Coming to you from Pig Studios in Compton, California. Featuring radio personality Super Steve Flores. Comedian extraordinaire, that dude Johnny C. And Mr. I'll Do Anything for a Buck, Mario 81. So throw your dubs in the air and let's get ready to pop lock.
I'm not clapping again.
Come on.
I'll clap for you, Johnny.
No, we're fucking, no.
It's the West Coast Poplock Podcast back.
We're back.
We're back.
Small
Started
break,
talk-
guys.
we
Something
started-
happened, you know what I'm saying? It was
The
just-
cartel shut us down for talking
Don't
about.
say that anymore. Did we not just learn don't say certain words
We
anymore?
got shut down. Start talking about a monkey and
Yeah, the monkey shut us down.
The powers that be were not happy.
Hey,
with
dude, the
anytime,
spirit
yeah.
of the monkey
That
came
was-
in here and unplugged it,
I feel
bro.
like that was some kind of 3-letter government agency that was like, these fools, like, don't talk about that
Fucked
stuff.
our shit up. They knocked out cameras. I had to
don't talk about it.
rewire the mainframe here. I had to readjust some shit, but don't even worry, John. We are back up.
I saw guys in a K car following me earlier with sunglasses. Like, I know, like, this is how
You know
it
shit's
goes,
going down, man. Shit's going
It's all
down.
I saw a
happening
van
right
outside,
now.
too.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
watch
Guy was
out.
looking through a zipper or
Ooh,
something.
you gotta watch out with the advance.
Someone call us snipers and let them know, fucking, not sniper, the snipers.
Oh, shit.
Not sniper from down the street. The fucking.
I thought you wanted a 40 or something to be brought in. Well, where did we leave off?
I don't know where
Exorcist.
we got
We were
cut
talking-
off.
okay,
Oh, well, that was
talking
a
about The
while
Exorcist.
ago.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, and like you were saying that they were gonna
How
it
did
was
they-
400 million
Oh yeah, $4 million
Yeah.
to make three.
to make 3 movies, which is really not a lot though.
Well, again, it's probably not the production cost; it's probably the rights.
Yeah,
Not only the
yeah.
rights, but if you want certain actors, they're gonna, hey,
Yeah.
now I need to get this much, and you know what I
Yeah.
mean. So a little bit of that, and then the rights, and then that kind of stuff, and then CGI or whatever the fuck they're gonna do.
I hope
I
not.
hope as little
I
as
hope not.
possible.
Yeah.
Like as little.
That's a problem with new
possible.
movies, though,
I mean,
dude.
okay, but here's the thing. Think about the original movie. I know your friend's listening. She's wondering about. I mean, I'm gonna ask her about this. Think about the original movie. 2 controversial scenes in that movie. 1, young girl masturbating with a crucifix.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
2, grabs her mom and shoves her bloody face in her bloody crotch.
Yeah.
You can't film that anymore.
No.
I don't care how crazy you want to get.
No.
You
they're
can't
never gonna
do
let
that.
you show menstrual
No.
blood on your mom's face.
Oh man.
She sucks cocks in hell.
Right. So how do you top that? You know what I'm saying? How do you shock an audience that we're already desensitized?
The good news is people are ready to be offended right now. So they'll be easily fucking like, oh my god! So that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Like, you get
Menstrual
people,
blood.
if you get people
Right.
up in arms, like that's all. Even about something dumb, it's
Right.
good that their people are up in arms. All that does is make people money.
Right.
The more angry they get about dumb stuff,
Right.
you make a bunch of money. So
Yeah.
it's the time. I agree with you.
Do you feel now, obviously, with the rise of technology now being accessible, now you're telling me about these new people coming in with new ideas, are we now at the beginning of a turning point for horror? Is horror making a major comeback? Because, once again, I got a lot of spooky, gothy buddies, and everyone's into the special effects. Everyone loves the vampire movies. Everyone likes the scary shit. They can't wait for fucking Halloween. There are people who live for that. So I know there's a community for that. But now with the film industry, is that kind of changing a little bit now? Or is it still kind of like, hey, it's its own tight niche and it's this big? Or do you see it actually like now getting bigger?
it's still a niche community. It's still tight knit, but it's getting bigger only because those with a vision. Okay, you have to have a vision. That's it.
Yeah.
Because the technology is easy. Look at the technology in this room. We could make a movie.
Absolutely.
And a badass movie. But if we have no vision and we don't have a decent script and a decent act, not a big name actor, just a person that can take direction.
Sure.
That can act. You put all that together, and you have and then you add the music. You
need an ingenue too. You need a young, beautiful girl in her 20s to run around. I'm just saying there's not a lot of avenues to immediately do something in Hollywood, to where you're somebody immediately. And one of the ways that's still available is being a hot girl in the early 20s and you get cast in a horror movie, and then boom, that has been the path for many of an actress, is you get your first pop in a horror movie.
That's true.
Sure.
I mean, there's true. There's also avenues where it's not the young hot guy, hot girl. For example, did you guys see the movie Insidious?
Yeah, that's a good one.
The main character is in her 70s.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Lynn Shay, she goes back to the original Elm Street. She was the teacher in Elm Street in the first movie.
No shit.
Yeah, so it's one of those, that's a whole franchise. That's going to be 5-6 movies now, I think.
Oh, wow.
With an actor who's up in age, you know what I'm saying? But the fact that it's hey, James Wan's a genius. He gave us the Saw franchise.
I was just about to ask about the Saw guys.
The Insidious
That's
franchise. He directed Fast 7. Now he's Aquaman. You know what I'm saying? It's the Conjuring franchise, all the spin-offs. So the guy's a genius. But the fact that you can do something like that think outside the box, and bring somebody in that you don't expect, right?
Right.
But why is grandma gonna scare me, right?
So good.
But hey, it worked,
And horror does come in waves, but all mainstream horror movies open huge. Before COVID.
Yeah.
But when even when the Conjuring movies got fucking ridiculous, they were still opening huge.
Yeah.
There's still a big market out there.
And I'll tell you, the ones in the theaters are not even the best ones.
Of course not. I'm just saying mainstream, but
Yeah.
it's not like there's not a market out there
Right.
for horror. But when we start getting creepy, people tune out.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, thinking back to what you just asked, Mario, it's I'm very hopeful because what I've seen over the last couple years has been some great stuff, man. Some great stuff. Some stuff I never even would have thought of, And these guys made some movies that make you think, and then some of them are slow, right? And at the end, shock you to the point where you're like, oh, fuck, I didn't even see that coming, Or some are just balls to the wall, just, hey, let's hit you with the, like a Terrifier, the Art the Clown, that's a clown that's relentless. Every time you see him kill, it's horrific.
I like the psychological horror movies way more than I like blood and guts, man. If I have to turn away the whole time, it's Jesus Christ.
Yeah, same here. I can't do that super blood and guts.
Yeah.
I like the blood and guts stuff, but I will say the stuff that does make your mind think. I don't watch too many horror stuff. I love comedy. There's over too much horror in my life to begin with, but too much tragedy and shit. But as I love to fucking laugh and fuck Johnny, I forgot where I was going with this.
Horror movies. Get the fuck
thanks.
out of
Hey,
here.
we need more.
I
Bruce
didn't interrupt
Campbell.
you.
We need more Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell.
There we go. More Bruce Campbell.
Someone's in the chat saying, "Hey, we need more Bruce Campbell."
Yeah, he did a movie called Black Friday.
Yeah, Magoo and
horror comedy.
Hi-Fi. What's going on, my man? Thank you for that. So, when is Leo gonna come out with his script? I know you have one.
I do have one. I do have one, and
Just one?
yeah, because this idea, it's been a passion project, and I'll tell you, it's based on what we are currently seeing in the skies. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, shit.
Because that is, whatever we're seeing up there is real. It's no longer fantasy. It's no longer make-believe, or this person's fucking crazy. It's no. The government already told us it's real. Last year they told us it's real. And now they're telling us there's some pretty fucked up things going on.
Okay, we had a guy on here named Casual Car who said that was all fake, that it was the actual government trying to make us think there's shit up there, but it really isn't. And you chimed in because he was talking about flat Earth, and you're like, yo, Carl, come on, stay in your lane. You're a scientist. Is there flat Earth, or is it round?
No, the Earth's round. And look, without even showing you any Newtonian calculus and proving planetary motions and all that, I could tell you one thing. Let's assume the Earth was flat for a second, okay? Flat as this table, right? Okay, so where's the edge, right? There's an edge. We're gonna fall off that edge somewhere, right, into
Yeah.
space, right? And somewhere below that edge has got to be rock because there's no water that goes down and below and defy gravity or anything, right? But let's just say it's flat. Now, we have a moon, right? We look at the moon, okay? Now, if the Earth was truly flat, and you look at the planetary movements of the Earth and Moon and their relationship, if the moon was overhead directly over us right now on a flat Earth, the moon would look round. But because it's flat Earth, and because the position of the moon and Earth, it'll be somewhere different, When you look at the moon, it should not look round. It should look like oval. So why doesn't the moon look oval? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's just a simple, and you can easily just prove that with a model. You can just simple,
Boom.
put the moon here. And
My
it's
question
oval.
is, if the Earth is flat, how come all the other planets are round? You know what I mean? Like, how come we're just
only
the
flat
assholes
ones?
that are
Yeah.
flat? Like,
Maybe
and-
this thing was in an intergalactic space battle and they blew half of this motherfucker up,
Get outta
Johnny.
here.
Yeah.
And they
Look,
left.
we're 100% round, and you
blew
could
our
thank
ass off.
you could thank gravity for that one. Gravity,
exactly.
Gravity pulls everything together and apart. So we're this shape because of gravity, and so are many other planets.
I'm this shape because of gravity too.
right?
So then you're saying that there's a lot. You're saying aliens, Leo.
I don't know what they are. I mean,
Unidentified aliens, right?
it's interesting because pop culture has taught us, right, all our lives that there's some alien, right? Alien grays, big eyes, whatever. That's what they are. That's what they are, right? From outer space, from Mars, whatever, But that's pop culture, right? What if that's not aliens?
I saw V, bro. I know that.
Okay, there's think about
Lizards that look like people.
There's that theory. There's that theory that people say that, hey, if you look at the people that are being outspoken right now, and I mean the legit people who help bring disclosure, what we currently know as disclosure, all these videos and stuff, there's a couple things that they're not talking about. They're not going to use the word hybrid.
Sure.
Once it was brought up, they're like, I'm sorry, I can't discuss that. And you're like, whoa, there's something there. They know something, okay? Now, what does that mean? And then there's, I'm talking about these legit people, not crazy, these are legit people. They're dropping breadcrumbs because they are trying to progress this to get more transparency so we know more what's going on, But they're also dropping hints as to like, hey, 100,000 years ago, something happened. Something happened 100,000 years ago that propelled the human race forward. So
right when our brains doubled in size.
something.
Yeah.
Now that didn't just happen because of Neanderthal versus Homo sapien
So
sapien.
they've been looking for what everybody knows it happened, but
Right.
they have no idea why.
Right.
Space
Jesus.
Yeah.
So,
Mushrooms.
and then
That is
then
a theory.
you could look within, right? You could look within and analyze our DNA, right? We share 50% DNA with the banana. Everything living on Earth came. If you go backwards in time, it came to a point. In that theory, they call it LUCA, the last universal common ancestor. That's where like we were one point, we were all the same, and from there we branched off, right? Some became spinach, some of us became lions, some of us became monkeys, and eventually humans, right? Thousands and millions of years later, but we all come back to that. That's why we all share DNA. Everything living, we have some commonality with it. Small percentages, maybe, maybe with
But all the same building blocks.
yeah, exactly, But then within, we also have something called junk DNA.
I'm full of that.
Not junk food, junk DNA.
Okay.
And there's a lot of theories that it's like we don't know what it does. Some people, have ideas of what they think it does, but when you remove it, the rest of it doesn't work. So it's like it ain't exactly junk. It's there for a reason. It's like it's some kind of placeholder.
That's what happened to the show earlier. Some of that junk got removed.
Yeah,
Right.
it's all fell
Shut
apart.
us down.
Right. So there's a lot of interesting theories going around right now, and nothing to do with grays and all that, and theory, but
Lizards?
but I mean.
You hear
Hybridization,
that a lot, right? Lizard people.
Yes,
lizard
yes,
people.
yes, yeah. Hybridization and whether it's lizards or not. I mean, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because when you look at when you study sociology, psychology, you think of the lizard brain,
Yeah.
the limbic, fight or flight response and all that. And it's like, wait a minute, where did we get that from? So there's some kind of ancestry that links to something else, But I don't know. That's not that's not what keeps me up at night. What keeps me up at night is that there's currently technology up there that is defying what I know as my reality, like the logic, right?
How things move.
Yeah. I'm like, how is something accelerating from 80,000 feet to 26 feet above the ocean in less than a second and not creating a sonic boom that creates an earthquake? Because remember, every time the space shuttle used to land here in California, you hear the sonic booms, right?
Yeah.
And fighter jets can't even practice. They can't even fly supersonic this side of the Sierra Nevadas because of fear that it might trigger an earthquake. So they do all of supersonic flight, I think over at Area 51 and that side of Nevada, like north, they go Mach 2, Mach 3 and all that shit, Here they can't do that here because for that fear that, But yet you have these things in our airspace right now that are just doing whatever they want. We can't even approach them. We can't even stop them. And it's defying everything I studied. Newtonian physics and, differential equations and all that. Throw that book in the garbage can because
it doesn't apply.
These things are way advanced. What they are, I don't know. There's so many crazy, interesting ideas, and I don't mean crazy, but somebody said, hey, that is actually us. Not us right now.
Sure, but us.
Us in the future.
Exactly.
I've heard that before.
You heard that before, huh?
Yeah.
Because that's when time travel becomes possible. You can't go back to before when... Yes.
And the idea is that, hey, we're approaching, midnight with the nuclear clock.
Sure.
Like we're like 4 minutes to disaster. We're very close, right? Or even seconds, maybe. I think the clock just moved up even more now. And the idea, one of the theories I heard at least, is that, someone's here to warn us, to say, don't do it, and not just us. I mean, this apparently is happening.
Well, there's been like the confirmed case where they turned off the nuclear silos and all that stuff, like where they were running.
Yeah, Maelstrom Air Force Base.
Yeah, where they
that's a
turned down
documented
everything.
case.
Yeah, this is not.
I'll tell you one of the best things.
Do you know what that is?
No. What is that?
So
this happened in the late '60s, I think, at Maelstrom Air Force Base, where there was a UFO sighting right over the base, and next thing you know, all the nukes that were on standby, because they keep them on standby because of the Cold War. Remember, they all shut off. They all went offline one by one, and it wasn't like electrical, it wasn't computer, it was nothing.
they were being turned off.
They were being turned off. Now, there's a similar case in Russia where the opposite happened. They were turned on, and they were getting ready to launch, and they were freaking out. They were like, because they're already preset to hit LA and Washington and whatever, so they're freaking out. And I'm sure they picked up the bat phone and called President whatever year that was, and said, "Hey, it's not us. We don't know what's going on." It's like, and then it stopped. But it was enough to scare them. It was enough to scare us. Crazy thing was, we just had the first congressional hearing a couple of weeks ago about these UAPs, UFOs, sightings and all that, right? And the two gentlemen, like the highest ranking in the military, right, were there to answer questions in front of a panel, right, of senators and congressmen and all that, right? And one of them asked them about the very case, about the Maelstrom Air Force Base case, about when the nuclear weapons were turned off, right? And they were like, "Yeah, we have no knowledge of this, and we're not looking at external documentation, or whatever." And the whole thing was, I think everybody laughed because they did not realize that incident came from the Pentagon. That report came from the Pentagon. This wasn't somebody reporting from the outside. That came from the inside.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're not ready yet, what I'm saying? Like, they don't know the full story,
and that's because whatever for sure, whatever they know for sure, they have way more questions than answers. Like, they don't have whatever, if they presented to you what they know with absolute facts.
Right.
The questions that you would immediately have, they don't have answers for.
Right.
They don't have answers for any of it. So it's like, I can't tell you this shit because I know what you're going to want to know. I know what you're going to ask.
Yep.
And we don't fucking know.
Yep.
So the uncertainty of all that is what drives people crazy.
Yeah.
They start losing their minds.
Yep.
Is Oh no, we don't know.
Right.
Like fucking sorry. Like,
And I'll be honest with you, this is something that you know, people would see. Oh, I saw something. I'm like, oh, cool, that's cute. You know, I'm like, I saw something once, but nothing that close enough, right? It's some little dot in the sky moving. And it wasn't until like, you know, whatever it was, 5 years ago. No, 2016. So we're now 8 years ago now. It was the election when it was Hillary Clinton versus Trump. Do you guys remember what happened during that? Mm-mm. This is the best story ever, man. And this is documented in a book called In Plain Sight. It's an Australian investigative reporter. His name is Ross Coulthart, I believe. He wrote this book, and he details how this all went down. This is wild. During that, we're 1 month away from the election, right? We're in October. The election's November, whatever it was, right? Presidential. We're in October. And a Russian hacker, right, dumped the whole WikiLeaks, right? And spilled the beans on Clinton's her game plan, right? And her campaign manager John Podesta at the time, her plan, right? And all these emails came out, right? Along with the emails came out this bunch of emails from this punk ass kid that we know, Tom DeLonge from Blink-182.
Yeah,
Were in those emails. Emails to generals, emails to John Podesta, emails to high-ranking CIA government officials, right? He was talking about this before. He was saying, yeah, I'm in touch, but I can't talk about it. Yeah, there's an impending war coming from the sky. Like, it's going to get bad, but I can't talk about it, you know? And everybody's like, this guy's fucking crazy, right? He's a punk-ass kid. He just quit the band. He just quit Blink-182 and to pursue this, and everybody thinks he's crazy.
Person, yeah.
All of a sudden, he's 100% credible. 100% credible. Because he did meet with these high-ranking people, and the guy, the head of Skunkworks, who built our SR-71, who built our B-1, B-2 bombers and all that, the stealth, you know, he met with this guy. There's emails, you know what I'm saying? How crazy is that? So now it makes you wonder, all right, what he said, and you know, and he's talking about these diners that they met in, these little airport restaurants that nobody goes to, you know, in the back corner. He's meeting these people, and you know, some of them won't give them their names, but they're CIA. You know, then later you find out that it was Lou Elizondo from the CIA, and you know, different people, right? And you realize this is a wild fucking story. But now it makes you wonder, what else that he's been talking about is true?
He's CIA, bro.
Like, what do you think? What do you think about Bob Lazar?
Legit.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
I mean, like Bob Lazar a lot,
dude.
Like,
our latest episode of the Boo Crew is Jeremy Corbell.
oh no shit.
Yeah, we had him on, and we talk about Bob Lazar.
Jeremy Corbell makes documentaries, and one of them, this dude Bob Lazar,
Yep.
who has been talking UFO shit for a long time, and supposedly like was working on stuff, and like they've like come out and attacked him and erased his history.
Yeah.
And fucking like, but.
I saw him on Rogan.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
yes,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
He didn't want to tell the story that he did. He was like very reluctant to talk that day.
Dude, watch that movie. If you guys are interested, the documentary is currently playing on Tubi. It's free right now. It's
Which one?
the Bob Lazar.
Oh,
the Jeremy Corbell documentary. Yeah, it's a great documentary. And mind you, he's the reason why we know about Area 51.
Right.
If it wasn't for Bob Lazar, we would never know about that fucking desert, you know.
The thing that they've moved on from since, where they go do secret shit somewhere else.
I'm sure.
It's a decoy.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Somewhere in the ocean.
Yeah. But I recommend definitely checking that out.
That's like when you fly. Well, and you look and you see how much nothing is out there.
Yep.
And especially in because this country's so fucking big, there's so much nothing in the middle, and all. It's like you could of course there could be places out there we would never fucking know about.
Yep.
Like, get out of here. There obviously is. There was one, right? There was there fucking forever.
There was one right under our
before we
nose.
knew about it.
We were going to Vegas and had no clue.
Did we talk about last time the theory of what if there is grays, what the grays are?
I don't think we did.
Because I know I've talked about whatever, but how like when we go to Mars,
right?
Right now, like when we go into Mars, we don't go to Mars. We send things to Mars. Like we send rovers, we send fucking satellites, we send all so like these great. This is not the thing This was sent by the thing. Like
Right.
this, like that's why they don't have mouths. That's why they don't have. These are not meant. These are not things. These are AI. This
Right.
is fucking an avatar
Right.
for whatever actually is the thing. Because
Yeah.
why would they go? We wouldn't go.
Right.
If we had the technology to go, so we would send fucking whatever probes and stuff.
Right.
We would not go.
And that's
Who
one of,
sends a
and that's,
dog?
and that's one of the theories of what's going on right now up there. Because if you look at the shape that some of the sightings, it's tic tac. Think
Yeah.
about it. It's a tic tac. I mean, 40 foot long tic tac. No windows, no propulsion, no wings, no nothing. Just a white fucking thing out there that's defying every law of gravity and accelerating from 0 to 60,000 miles per hour in a second, and just disappearing or reappearing. And I mean, you think about that. And so, is there an occupant inside?
Right.
Maybe not. Maybe it's a drone.
Right.
You know, from something else. But what scares me is not just that's defying what we see, right? But if it's being controlled from somewhere far away, that means that they also are violating another crazy law of physics, you know, of instantaneous information beyond the speed of light.
Way beyond.
Way beyond. So somebody has a controller joystick and is saying, "Hey, let's mess with these fighter groups and you know sailors and Marines out there in the ocean." I mean, that's pretty wild.
So when we start adding, if you add time as the fourth dimension, does that make more sense of where they're being able to control time as how we could control, you know, other like. It's moving, and we don't understand how this is happening, but it's happening just through the elements that we already have here. But they just can I can't.
So no, you're onto something.
They can
here.
manipulate. They can manipulate time.
Well,
in
you're onto
ways that
something that's very, very important. Is that space time is intertwined together.
Right.
So they're able to warp space, and because so they're warping time. So they're able to probably go longer distances in the.
Like it's not propulsion.
Exactly.
It's the manipulation
Yeah.
of space time.
They're pulling space in front of them towards them instead of traveling to it.
Sure, being able to manipulate gravity and space time.
Exactly.
Like that. Woo! Oh, that's great. Pulling it towards them. We're not going through it. We're pulling it fucking
Yes.
past us.
Yeah. And interesting, the whole thing with Bob Lazar is when he was reverse engineering these things at Area 51, you know, he was working with element 115.
Right.
If you look at the periodic table of elements, right? 115 did not exist back then, right? It just came into existence a few years ago because we finally made it in the lab. And when you make something like in the lab, it has a half-life of like 10 million seconds, 10 millionth of a second. So you create it, you can detect it, gone. That's it. That's as best as we've come, right? But he probably worked with kilograms of this stuff, right? Which powered these UFOs that he worked on back in the 80s, right? So the question is, where'd it come from? Now, if you look at the origin of the universe, right? One of the theories, because they can prove, you can point a telescope into deep space, right? And you could say, well, this part of space, we see nickel, we see iron, we see oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, helium, but nothing beyond. We don't see cobalt, we don't see tungsten, we don't see mercury, we don't see heavy metals, right? We only see lighter metals. So one of the great theories of the Big Bang is that when the Big Bang happened, right, it gave us only maybe up to iron. Probably had up to iron. That's it. The universe had up to iron. So we had all those elements up to iron. We had nitrogen, phosphorus, hydrogen, helium, up to iron. That's it. Anything beyond that, we did not have. So the question is, where do the other elements come from? So in space, we have these stars that burn out, right? They become supergiants and black dwarfs and supernovas, and they blow up, right? They blow up with such a force that the energy is even greater than the Big Bang because you have something else in the way. It's blowing up next to it.
Sure, there was
So-
nothing before. Now there's something.
Now there's something in the way, and it's fusing all these atoms, all these neutrons, electrons. Now it's creating new elements. So that's how we have gold and silver and platinum and uranium in existence, because we mine uranium on Earth, you know. The question is there a planetary system, a part of the universe where element 115 is stable
Plentiful.
and plentiful?
Sure.
And is that where they got it from? And they just mine that shit like we mine uranium here in a cave and then built a craft.
Like, yeah, they're like, oh, you don't have this? Like, oh, man,
Exactly.
like, you fucked up.
Exactly.
Like, if you had this, you guys would be...
Sucks to be
okay.
you.
Come
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
bro.
yeah.
You know what, man? This is why K-Rock sucks, because you no longer work there, genius. I'm telling you, bro. These are the kind I mean, not even this deep, Leo, but we would stay after hours and talk, and you were still... I don't know what you were doing there anymore now, bro. That could have been your cover as well. But I'm telling you right now,
Deep cover.
he left
It's
and it went
CIA
to
cover.
shit. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Weatherly, Leo's here, bro. He can save you. I'm telling you, bro. Yeah, because you know what? You have this guy. I mean, when I started working there, I go in there and, say hi to Leo. He comes in after hours. And then I was staying after hours for a little bit. I don't know even why. And we just sat down and just, hey, Leo, what's up, bro? And started talking to him. And then, I've been sitting here the whole time just listening to what he's saying, and he just has so much to say and all this, crazy ass shit he's telling us and stuff that I've never heard or even ideas that I've never even thought of. But I mean, those were like awesome ass times, bro.
They were.
Just kicking it there.
And that's why I always tell people, hey, my time in radio, the best times for me in radio because my friends that I sat down with after hours and broke bread or shared some drinks or chatted till midnight or on a Sunday morning or whatever,
Yeah, we're there and it's like midnight. Oh shit, it's time to go.
Right.
And it's like, fuck.
It's because of that, not because of, hey, look where I work. This is cool. Fucking see rock stars and concerts and celebrities all the time. Who cares?
But dude, all this just came from your fucking movie you're gonna make. You know what I'm saying? But so you were saying that there's something out there we don't know. Like you guys were saying that it could be us from the future coming back, and we've heard that on Coast to Coast before,
right?
Like them coming back and trying to warn us of what we're going to do to ourselves, or that middle part.
John Connor.
Yeah. But there was a name to the guy. Remember, they had an actual guy, the
time traveler.
The time traveler,
Markham, Madman Markham.
Yeah, and I remember listening to a Coast to Coast where they actually went and found the kid that he was supposed to be,
right?
And they actually interviewed him, but through a lawyer. Because they didn't want to affect the kid's life in general, but they interviewed the guy through the lawyer, and it was crazy. It
makes you wonder, like, is that story real?
Yeah,
but whether or not it was entertaining, right?
Oh, entertaining as hell.
That's the most important part.
But yeah,
for sure.
And that's how I see all this. I see it as entertaining, but now that it's reality, it's like now I'm rethinking all the science that I know.
Sure.
And now it bothers me. I can't sleep at night.
One of the funnest things to me lately in like entertainment, especially movies, has been the introduction of the multiverse and how not only is it the premise for a bunch of movies, but now they don't even take the time to explain the concept because they assume that everybody grasps what this is.
Right.
When 10 years ago that wasn't even something. If you told people like there's a multiverse, man, we're in a bubble that's right next to a bunch of other bubbles and they're fucking popping all the time, like you're a fucking crazy person, and now it's just accepted as, this is not only a possibility, but a probability that we exist in a fucking a universe of unlimited potential and possibilities.
And there's possible proof of that. For example, when I took chemistry in high school, they show you a circle and they're like, here's the center, here's the nucleus, and here's the electron that goes around the nucleus, right? I'm like, okay, cool. You get to college, and it was like in college, it's like, all we want you to understand is that the electron can be here, there,
I was going to get into this
everywhere at the same time and nowhere. Okay, now my brain's like a little bit melting. I'm like, now I'm disturbed. I'm like, fuck, here we go. Now we get to today, where we have the birth of quantum computers.
Yeah.
Okay, so the computers that are running this podcast, our iPhones or iPads, are based on ones and zeros, right? Yes or no? Black or white. You get 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Now, a quantum computer has a 0, 1 and a state in between, a super state that can be both. Okay? Superposition, they call it, right? And they're not even bits or ones and zeros. They're called qubits. Okay? Now, it can do some simple things, right? It can factor 21. It can tell you 7 times 3 is 21. Like, big deal, right? But the behavior of how it gets the answer, right? The particle leaves this universe disappears and gets the answer and brings it back. And you're like, what the fuck? Now you're talking about, multi-dimensional,
Sure.
Like you mentioned, analysis from a computer. And they're saying when you scale that up and we stabilize it and we can actually use it at home for work and all that they can break any password. Any password. You can have a password that has 20 million characters, it'll break the password in 5 seconds. So either it's going to make things very secure, it's going to make things chaos, because, passwords are going to be something new. It's going to be fingerprints, it has to be a whole combination of things, no longer words and numbers and letters,
A thought. You have to think a thing. And yeah.
I mean, so I don't know how many years off we are to that technology. I don't know if we're going to get it soon, but it's already showing behaviors that it's working in multiple dimensions. And I'm like, how is that even possible? Well, because the parts of the atoms are doing the math and science for you. And they don't stay here. They like to disappear. And they're gone. And then they come back into existence again here. And you're like, okay.
So I was reading something the other day about quantum physics, and see if I understand this is what they were saying is that our world does not exist if we're not observing it. Like that none of it exists. Like how a video game, how if you're looking over here on a video game, none of this is rendered. Like it's all gone. Then as you turn, then it starts rendering all of these things. Right. That is how the universe works. That none outside observation, it can't exist without observation. Right?
That's pretty deep.
That goes back to the classic: if a tree falls, then you don't.
That's
do
what
the
I was
same exact
thinking.
shit.
There you go.
Right. Like our world, it doesn't exist outside of our observation of it, which is why there's superposition, because everything's everywhere and nowhere until we fucking look at it.
Right.
Man.
Science,
dude, it's so fucked up that the further in you go, the less things make sense.
Of course.
Not the more things. Like you would think, like, oh, as you get down, like, oh, it makes more and more sense. Like, oh, we're building these tiny building blocks, build these other things that build these other things, and it gets bigger. But no, the further you go in, the less it fucking makes sense.
Yeah. Well, when I really wanted to pursue graduate school, and in astrobiology, and I wanted to study the origins of life, and in what they call abiotic systems, right? Chemicals and stuff before they formed life, before they formed amino acids and proteins and all that, right? Out there in space, right? Like how did it all come together, right? How did it all come together? And when you study that, when you study entropy, and you study how the universe works, right? We're in a state of entropy where we go from order to disorder at all times, right? The universe is increasing at a fast rate. We're moving along with it. We're expanding, and chaos is just everything's expanding. Everything's going to disorder. That's the natural state of the universe. But then you have self-assembly. Then you have these little molecules that came together and they had to self-assemble to form the first amino acids. To form the first backbones, the pieces of DNA and proteins and all that. So how do you go from chaos to like, no, wait, let's come together, have a little party here, So it's very complicated, very interesting. But there's people that have some really cool research and theories of how that all came together to eventually give us life. Whether we were planted here from something else, or whether we just some rock hit us and that rock landed here into some pond in the middle of the Amazon, and eventually we crawled out of it. 400 million years later. Whichever the theory is, but. Like you said, it's complexity. It's complex chaos, disorder. But within that, when you look at it carefully, there's things that want to unionize. They want to come together. They want to form complex, structures and things.
When chaos, like everything's being tried.
Right.
When there's absolute chaos, that means that all kinds of crazy combinations are going to be going on, and eventually those things lock.
Maybe we're the Australia of the other dimensions or whatever.
The Florida, the Australia, all of those. Yeah,
they just threw us here, you know what I'm saying, and let us be, but they come and check.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's for sure that's.
There's that. Whatever's going on up there, and then there's places like Skinwalker Ranch, which my theory is I think it's a crash site. I think there's something in that rock buried that could have been there a million years that's still harnessing energy, you know. And the local natives, you know, they're pointing out interesting pieces of that location. They're like, there's a spiral here, you know. What does that mean? That's a sign of interdimensional, you know, crossing over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen what's his name, the movie. What's the guy that does the spirals from Marvel?
Oh, Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
But there's weird things like
Isn't that what he does to get into the dimensions?
Movements, right? I mean, you know, but
they get it from somewhere. And aren't those movies made to like sort of like, you know, program us, not program us, but like, you know, get us used to the concept of those type of things that they already know.
Right. It can't, because like you said, the ideas came from somewhere, right? It's science fiction, fun, Marvel comics, you know, DC, whatever. But the ideas came from somewhere, of course. And it makes you wonder, you know, is it real? Is there something else out there that's inches away from us that we can't get to because we don't know how, but it's there? And if you find the portal, you can get there.
Right, we don't have the capability, like in contact.
Right.
When Jody Foster falls through the thing.
Right.
You know?
But then if you get there, you don't know if your face is gonna melt, your brain's gonna explode.
There you go.
Or if you're going to come back.
And I like
there you go.
And the example I like to give. You see those videos where the colorblind people put on the glasses and they see color for the first time and they fucking lose their minds.
Yes.
Like I really think, I don't think it's glasses, but I really think there's a prism that could be twisted, a spectrum that changes, and we see it's like, and questions, it's like, oh, like we couldn't possibly have the answers for them because we can't see this thing that's right in front of us that would explain everything. And it's like, oh shit, now I understand, you know, but we can't see those colors.
That, you know, and I think of people that, you know, what is it called? Is it EC5? Is it EC, what is it called, EC5? No, CE5. CE5. The Close Encounter 5.
Oh.
You heard about that?
No.
People go out to the desert. I can't remember. I know the guy's name. I'm not going to mention his name.
You mentioned a lot of names. I think we're all in trouble already.
Yeah, but this guy's making money off. He's profiteering, you know.
Okay.
Sure.
But that whole thing is like, hey, let's go to ayahuasca out in the desert and let's go summon these things to come down, right? I'm like, okay. Was it real? So my science mind always says, well, what's the control? How do we control for that, right?
Sure.
We already have the vision of the Greys since we were kids.
Yeah.
Whatever Marvin and the Martian, whatever Looney Tunes you watch, whatever, you know, Independence Day, whatever you watch, you have the vision of what they look like, right? So now all these things of monsters and creatures and behavior already pre-programmed, and now you're just interacting with some hallucinogenic, right? And you think you traveled this far distances and you met God and, you know, you come back enlightened, right? Well, I think you came back enlightened because of the drug, not because of you actually met God and the Zeta Reticuli and all that, you know what I'm saying? The drug did something to your brain. It permanently adjusted your brain somehow for the better or the worse. And most people say for the better, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How would I control that experiment, right? I would need to have somebody born who's never been exposed to pop culture.
Sure.
Never watched TV, movies, or stories, or anything, right? Grew up to a certain age, let's say 20 years old, to do this same experiment, right? Now, they do the drugs and they have the same experience and they come back and say, yeah, I met this great looking thing, had big eyes and all that. I'd be impressed. That would impress me. That would say, okay, I don't know what you experience, you know, but it's interesting you have the same experience as somebody else who has pre-programmed,
sure,
you know, in their mind.
So my experience doing ayahuasca.
I was going to say.
Oh, shit, you did.
Oh, I've been to Peru twice to do ayahuasca.
Oh, man.
So the first time I go down there, I go in with not a lot of knowledge. I felt like the jungle. I was being called. To the jungle. That's how because I heard about it. I heard about it on Rogan. I heard about other places, and I felt it was something I couldn't get out of my fucking head. I knew I needed it so much to the point when I got to Peru, I stood on the tarmac and was like, okay, I'm here. Like what? You know, like what?
Right.
What do you want? So we do the 4 ceremonies, and I meet a being. It's this beautiful woman, and we fucking have all kinds of experiences, and blah, 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 all this stuff. So and I don't really talk about her, you know, and I don't know. And so then I come back, and then 2 years later I go back, but to a different like center, you know.
Right.
And I walk in, and there's a painting on the wall of this woman, and it's her. And I go, who's that? You know, like who? And they're like, that's her, you know, like that's the mother, that's the spirit, the mother of all this shit. And I was like, I've met her. And but I had no real knowledge of that this was a possibility, that you were going to go meet this deity that was a woman, an incredible, like, and I did. And then when I saw, I was like, who? So and I've thought about that a lot, about prior influence and like how, you know, and I don't really think I would, like, I met her. She's fucking rad.
Let me ask you this though: did you come back enlightened, changed? Did you come back a changed person?
I died there and came. The thing that I went there as, a different thing came back.
See, that's what impresses me about this. Like, it's not something I would ever do, but when you can even read Steve Jobs' autobiography, you know, one of those books, right? He called out Bill Gates. He's like, Bill, he goes, dude, you should have really dropped acid with me and mushrooms. Like, really, like, it would have opened your mind to new ideas because you were so square. You were so just writing DOS and all that shit.
You're so
like,
Bill Gates, man.
You would have probably had the iPhone or the iPad or wild touch technology and all that, you know, before me, you know. So I'm like, that's really, I laughed when I read that chapter. I laughed, you know, I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny, you know. But what I'm hearing is mostly positive, that people come back and they come back changed, you know. And I'm like, if that changed you, you know, and it changed your life for the positive, for the better, it did great things for you, then wow.
And not all the time, though. There was a lady that we went down there. She was an older lady from England. And she had I don't know if there was too much to process or whatever, but not physically, psychologically. This woman was not doing well. Oof. After, like, she was, as we felt like, oh, thank God, like, oh, that was awesome. And she's like, what am I supposed to do with my life now? Like, not happy about whatever fucking avenue she had explored at all. And it was like, oh, you know.
But Leo, too, I remember, you remember when I went to
Mexico City. Yeah.
To visit, and it was on that, the Virgin Mary's birthday and the whole night. I mean, I felt like just the energy that everyone had there, it hit me like a tidal wave, man. I could feel it. It almost brought me to tears, man. It was just this amazing, like, just energy, dude, of all these people just really believing and like, you know, they come from miles on, you know, on their knees and stuff, and the faith that they have, it was something totally different that I never felt before, you know. And then one time when I was in the production office at K-Rock, I was sitting with Anastasia, and we were talking, and all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but we're just looking at each other, and then, what's his name comes in from the morning show, not Dave, but Omar. And he's like, oh shit, what's going on over there? It was this energy that we just stopped talking, and we were just looking at each other. It was this crazy fucking energy, dude. And I've never felt that again either. You know, I don't know, man.
Well, it's interesting because, I mean, you got to witness, a lot of people have not seen what is Juan Diego's shroud, right? What he was wearing, right? Which is the imprint that was left when he carried the roses up to, what is it, Tepeyac, Mount Tepeyac? Yeah. When he carried as instructed, right, by the Virgin Mary. And when the roses fell, her imprint, her image was imprinted on his, you know, on what he was wearing. And that's what you see hanging in the church. And when you look at it, it's very impressive. Yeah. Because you're like, that's a fucking painting. You're like, why? You know, like what? But it's a miracle. You know, it's proof of a miracle. And it's gonna harness energy. Yeah. Good, positive energy. Those that seek it, those that are looking for, you know, healing or redemption or love and, you know, a new beginning or whatever, you know, they absorb, they just get that energy, they get that feel, you know. So it's like, I'm not surprised. I've not seen it yet. I want to someday, you know, much like the other relics, like the Shroud of Turin in Torino, Italy, you know, it's the same thing. It's like they think it's the sheet that was covering Christ, Jesus, when he was after his crucifixion, he was buried, and his imprint was left there, and the scientists keep carbon dating it, and just recently again they said, nope, it's actually from that time period.
Nope, it is.
Before they were saying, it's off by 2000, by whatever 300 years, whatever. Now they're going back like, no, it's actually back to the, So things like that, I haven't seen one up close and personal, but when you have that belief, that faith, but you're also looking for answers, and you're looking for hope. And you get it. Like the energy's there,
sure.
And that, you can't explain that. You can't quantify that, but I believe it. I believe it because he's not the only one. Like you
sure.
said,
No,
how many were lined up?
Oh, it was miles.
Miles. And people feel that. People feel that,
People come from all over the world. I was standing outside and there was people from Germany, Japan. Every corner of the earth. Not only that, but every corner of Mexico, like they come in droves, man. And there's a mile. I went back the next day to mass there, and people were still coming in on their knees. People were still coming, begging for their children to be healed of whatever it was.
Right.
It's crazy, man. And like you said, sometimes we are looking for something. We are trying to find an answer, and I'll tell you this, like Johnny said, when I went there, I went for a purpose to get an answer that I needed answered. And when I came home, it was answered. And right when I got here, right when I landed here, boom.
That's amazing.
It felt crazy because I was like, oh man. And then it wasn't the answer that I wanted. So it was just
never
like,
is.
fuck.
Right.
It never is.
You know what I mean? I was just like, why, bro? Like, come on, dude.
Have you gone back?
I haven't. I've been meaning to go back.
You're supposed to. You're supposed to go back and say thanks.
You didn't fucking go back.
I'll now have to go because I also want to go to Vicente Juan de los Lagos. I want to go there as well. Right. There's a lot of those places like that, man. That especially in Mexico, they're really heavily into the the Virgin Mary.
Yeah, what's interesting about the Virgin Mary is when you look at that in the context of demonology and demonic possession and all that. It's an interesting conversation with priests about that. When people are seeing things and having bad things happen in their homes, whether because it was free will, because they invited things in, or playing with things they should not have played with, or just completely involved some, into the occult or whatever, things are happening. It's interesting that I heard this numerous times already, that the most powerful prayer is hers. Do you know why? Because she is absolute pure. She lived without sin. And every demon, everybody is scared of her. They go running from her.
Damn.
Good to know.
I was like, whoa.
It's crazy because my godson was trying to get a Ouija board. Because he saw it on TikTok. It's like, I want to get one of those.
God damn you, TikTok.
It's just a game. And I was like, bro,
not a game.
That's not a game.
It's not a game, dude.
That's not just
my
a
grandma,
game.
my dad's mom used to do up table where they fucking
no.
And she used to know like all kinds of shit about my dad. This is my mom's story that she used to know. I'm like, this is the mom. I was like, she's just hiding behind this because you guys are dumb kids. But they swear behind it, and I was like, you guys are playing with real shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even if nothing happens in that moment.
Sure.
You're playing with something.
And you're inviting this
yes,
shit.
Yeah,
Get the fucking.
Because you have no control over what you may open something,
right?
But you have no control.
That's like I like to talk about fucking Chuyachaki again. So when I was in Peru in the jungle, there was one of these dudes who's telling me about all the jungle legends that he knows, and one of them was about a dude named Chuyachaki. And Chuyachaki's a trickster. He's also a shapeshifter. Yeah. So you see him like out in the jungle, and it could look like your mom or fucking whoever, but one of his feet doesn't change. That's how you know. That's how you know this is him. And what he does in the jungle, when you're doing something bad and you think fucking that's Chuyachaki. He's watching you when you're doing bad, and he's a trickster. But he helps the animals in the fucking. He's like controls the force. But if he decides he doesn't like you, you have to go into the jungle. You have to eat a special diet, and you fight him in your dreams for 9 months.
Holy shit.
And but that he could defeat you. That just because you're fighting him is not a guarantee that you will win.
Right.
But then if you beat him and when you fight him in your dreams, after that he becomes your ally and helps you in the jungle, like to whatever it is that you need out there. Like that, after you defeat him, he becomes your pal. And I don't like talking about him because I don't want to go fight him in my dreams for 9 months. You know what I mean? I don't like fucking bringing it up because I think only negative things can come out of fucking talking about fucking Chuyachaki.
Yeah.
But this dude,
and we would have to miss you for 9 months on the West Coast.
Yeah, I would come in live on Skype with my phone, fucking live from the jungle. It's like, I'm getting ready to go to sleep right now. Last night's battle was pretty rough. I don't feel like I won. I'm gonna go. I loaded back up, ate some fucking plantains. I'm going back in for to win right now.
Here's a question I have, Leo. You said that we were possibly made from all these things coming together, correct? What is the here's the question I have then. What is the spirit made out of? Because if we're calling spirits, they really exist. So what is the spirit made from? If our bodies are made from all these things, what is that thing made of that exists?
I think the idea is that it's energy, you know. Even if and I mean I don't pay you know, of course, when you say, hey, your guardian angel, right? What does your guardian angel look like? What do you picture?
I think the angel that we've always been, that we've grown up with, you know, the picture of the wings and the whole,
right?
Yeah.
But that is never described. That was never described in any of the books, apparently. Apparently, the angel is described as light, like balls of light, like balls of energy. And when they want to reveal themselves to you, you do see them. And you do see them as somebody maybe beautiful, you know, or like peaceful, you know. Like when you see, like when you look at these demonic possession cases, right? At the very end, a lot of these cases, and the most famous, the most famous case of Roland Doe, which the movie is based on, the 1949 case of Roland Doe, was the kid that the movie The Exorcist is based on in St. Louis. When that fight was over, he claims he saw, you know, this guy with long wavy hair dressed in white with a sword. Who's the one angel? Who's the archangel that's depicted with a sword?
Yeah.
Saint Michael.
Yeah.
You know, and that comes up over and over again. These are people who have no religious background. They have no knowledge, and they keep seeing, you know, he was white, he was peaceful, and he had a sword. And I'm like, wow, you know, that's interesting, you know, that. But whether it's an entity or a ghost, whatever, that's why people, you know, they see these orbs, right? They're like, what's these orbs, you know? Whether they materialize, quickly disappear, or linger, or follow you, or attack you, whatever. I don't know. I mean, if they're malevolent, if they're bad, you know, that's probably the energy of something like a trickster, you know, like something that's there to oppress you, to make your life miserable because you let it in, or because your place is haunted, maybe. Simple as that, you know. Bad energy. Your house is in you know, burial ground or something, you know. But it can also be angelic, you know, at the same time. But you will know, apparently, when it's angelic, because it won't be a trickster. Like, you will know. Like, they will confirm and show you that, hey, I'm here not to cause you any harm. You will feel at peace. You will be okay. I haven't had those experiences. I don't know. But it's interesting when I read those accounts.
Yeah.
That's so when I went to Peru and I asked, because she's fucking, you know, but gorgeous, but I can't, like, look at her. Like, when you try to look straight on, it's like looking to infinity. You can't fucking see. But looking at her, like, peripheral, you can see that this is a beautiful woman. But
wow.
And I asked her, I said, is this what you look like, or is this what you look like to me? You know? And she was like, is a beautiful woman the most effective way to communicate with you? Mm-hmm. And I was like, yes it is. She was like, then don't worry about it. Like what do you but so I get that.
God, that's so
interesting.
interesting.
Start seeing wild shit out there.
And we are the beautiful woman every Tuesday night. It's the West Coast Pop Lock Podcast.
That's us.
Coming to you on Twitch, on Facebook, on
Spotify.
YouTube, on Spotify, on iTunes, powered by My Grito. And also you can catch us
Wednesdays at 8 a.m., 4 p.m. on the Local Music Experience, a free app. You download it, you can listen to us, and then you listen to Mario be an asshole on Thursdays and Fridays.
It's what I do, baby. It's what I do.
I want to say what's up to all the chat. We got Jose.
Oh, yeah. Do you live in
Joseph
Eagle Rock,
Rojas.
Leo?
He's like, hey,
Rojas
Leo from Eagle Rock, and then Stacy Levine out there in Texas. You remember her, Leo? She used to hang out with us. Great voice, beautiful.
Oh, that's
voice.
awesome, Stacy. Yeah, she's
Beautiful
incredible,
voice,
man. God, that
Great
girl can
artist.
play. She can sing. She's amazing.
Yeah. If she ever comes down, if she's ever in California, we'll try to have her on the podcast. She's a beautiful voice.
Yes.
Great artist, great talent, you know. But out there being a mom in Texas.
That's amazing.
Leo, there's not enough time, man. I mean, we have to bring Leo back because we went to the boo stuff. And now we got into this whole science and creation. And, I mean, we definitely have to have you back again for a third one. And we'll stay away from the boo stuff. And we'll get straight into science. And if casual Carl wants to come here and challenge you, get in here, Carl. Where you at, bro?
I can't wait to see Carl get shut down with facts.
We have a great time with Carl. You also know Carl.
Yeah.
He's a good
20 years
bros.
he's
He's a great guy. But definitely, man.
Yeah, totally appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely.
This is always a great time, man. And it's great to be here. Always enjoy the conversations. Appreciate it. Hopefully it stimulates some minds out there, you know?
And when is when does the Brew Crew come out? Is it
Yeah, our podcast is available everywhere, you know, iTunes and Spotify and everywhere. Usually episodes drop on Tuesdays.
Okay.
But sometimes we get so busy, we have 2, 3, 4 episodes a week because there's a lot of horror stuff out there, you know,
a lot of
writers
news.
and directors and news and just stuff coming out. And
Any
then
awesome guests that you're going to have coming up?
Nothing in the pipeline yet. We just had some really cool releases. We just had Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger. He's in Stranger Things season 4.
Nice.
So if you guys are watching that, then you know his character. Yeah.
Can't wait.
Oh, we can get there. He's fun, man. He's fun. And we just had Jeremy Corbell.
Nice.
And it's great because he was mentored by George Knapp and you know
George
Stephen,
Knapp,
the guy's legit.
Yeah,
I mean,
George Knapp is, you know.
so
Leo got me into
George
that.
Knapp is the king.
Yeah.
From the conversations we had at K-Rock, man, you got me into like coast to coast, and then I would go and on the way home because it was so late when I left. Coast to coast would come on, and there'd be Exorcist or Aliens. I mean, honestly, when I leave here, coast to coast, man.
Right. But yeah, it's good times, man. You know, and of course our show's expanding to television, so we'll be on Roku, Pluto TV, just a bunch of stuff. But for now, catch us on the podcast.
And we'll definitely have you back in, man. Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
Thank you
Leo.
guys.
Amazing, bro.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
The number one live show in the world, West Coast Poplock Podcast. Coming to you from Pig Studios in Compton, California. Featuring radio personality Super Steve Flores. Comedian extraordinaire, that dude Johnny C. And Mr. I'll Do Anything for a Buck, Mario 81. So throw your dubs in the air and let's get ready to pop lock.